And here we go with part two of Local 6 Legal Line. Attorney Austin Kennedy, our guest, for answering your questions at 1-888-208-6946. The topic is personal injury. I think we're out of motorcycle questions for now. I do have a general, a car-related question. Austin, somebody says, I was injured when I was rear-ended in an accident by a teenager who only had a permit and he did not have an adult in the car with him. Can I sue his parents for being negligent?
More than likely you should. If either of the parents signed off on the permit, you should be able to name them in the complaint along with the minor child, or if the child was driving a parent's vehicle with, say, their permissive user, that'd be another way you could potentially name the parents in the lawsuit. But that's one of those where you definitely would want to know more information about it, but just generally I think you'd be successful doing that.
I have a question from Rodney who says, I have an injury claim and the other side's insurance company wants me to sign a medical release so they can get my medical records. Is that okay to do that?
Yes and no. A lot of times with those releases, they're very broad. They'll allow insurance companies to get medical records from, date of birth to present. You want to make sure that it's narrowed down to date of accident to present. You don't want them getting records on things that you believe private, completely unrelated, irrelevant to whatever claim that you may have. I would read it pretty carefully, make sure that it is just limited to the date of the accident to the present, and I think in that case it should be okay. They're going to need to get your medical records to evaluate your claim to determine whether or not they're going to pay you any money. But that's, again, if you're getting to that part of the equation as far as a claim goes, it's always a good time to call a lawyer, see if they can help you out with that part, because they should be able to advise you on not only the medical authorization but other issues that come up.
Our next question comes from Jerry, who says, my wife and I were on a cruise. She tripped and broke her knee, and to this day it is still not right. How do we go about filing a personal injury claim in this case since it happened at sea?
Well, that's a great question, and one I've actually never had come up in 10 years. I would think it's under federal maritime law, which I'm not familiar with, and it's just, I'm sure it happens all the time, but it's just something we don't typically deal with. I'd have to really think about that one. But I would say it'd be subject to federal maritime law, which you'd probably have to find a specialist for that. It's not something we deal with here in Kentucky. But if you have any questions, you want to give our office a call, I can try to steer you in the right direction on that.
I have a question from Tom who says, we stayed at an AirBNB and my daughter fell down the stairs and hit her head. Now, my insurance company only paid part of the emergency room. My question is, can we sue the AirBNB to help cover our other expenses?
Potentially. It's one of those where you're going to have to look at whether they were negligent, the Airbnb owners or their housekeepers or the people that clean the Airbnb. To determine whether or not there was any negligence committed and whether that negligence caused your daughter's injuries. So it's very fact sensitive. Typically, premises liability cases or slip and fall cases are very difficult to prove, especially in Kentucky. The negligence aspect of it is causation. It just makes it very difficult. So I would call a lawyer on that one, see if you can get more information about it and see if they might be able to help you.
Topics today have been personal injury with car wrecks and other various injuries, even including motorcycle accidents. If you'd like to review either one of these segments, we'll have them up shortly online under the Legal Line icon. Check the Bryant Law Center at WPSDLocal6.com.